I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call of aldermen.
Mr. Heisler.
Here.
Mr. Kinsella.
Here.
Mrs. Holt.
Here.
Mrs. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Ridgewitz.
Here.
Mr. Randall.
Here.
Mr. Anthony.
Here.
Mr. Davidson. Mr. Silsby. Mr. Hayden.
Here.
Mr. Seibert.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Mr. Galletti. Mr. Musgrove.
Here.
Mr. Orlett.
Here.
Ms. Schneider.
Alderman Silsby and Davidson had contacted us that they are on vacation. Alderman Gleddy called in and said he's got a work conflict with his work. At this time, roll call department heads.
Police Chief Clay. Fire Chief Tom Poor. City Attorney Garrett Horner. Ken Vaughn. Royce Carlisle. Jamie Matrit. Tim Gregowitz. Jim Schneider. Leander Spearman. Emily Foltz. Chuck Schaefer. Bob Sabo. Debbie Belva.
Okay, Tim was here. I think he's just out in the hall yet. Emily's last day of vacation, she's excused. Chuck is excused tonight. He's covered by Mike Parks. Randy Smith's here for Royce Carlisle tonight, and also Chief Sparger is here for Chief Clay. I think that covers all of them. At this time, here comes Tim, so we got that covered. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. The first couple of things I want to clarify is that we are in the process now. We are videotaping the meetings. They will be available tomorrow morning if you go to the Belleville, www.belleville.net. There's a link there that you can watch the meetings. We are still working, and there's still some, I guess, Rich, fiber concerns they're working out with Charter and Lindenwood. We met again, or we talked to them again in recent days, but we're getting closer. But one of the comments about the taping is, Alderman, you must speak into the microphone, and if anyone from the audience, our department heads get asked, speak during public participation, or get asked to answer a question, department heads, you must come to the microphone, because some of the comments throughout the meeting last 2 weeks ago, didn't pick up when we were responding from our seat, some of the department head answers. So I just clarify that. I also want to mention that with our disaster plans that we have for this building, if there would be a need to vacate the building for any fire purposes, we would ask you to leave calmly and quietly out through the front door of the lobby, go across the street carefully, and gather around the St. Clair County Courthouse sign in the front. This would give us a chance to try to check and see if friends and fellow department heads and everybody's accounted for as the fire department would come to check out the concern. If we had severe weather, the police officers are out in the hallway, or staff will follow the signs, and they will lead you to the basement of the building here, which is right by the stairs across from the clerk's office, to go downstairs where there's no glass and it's a safe environment. So that's just the tips about disaster. There's no public hearing this evening, so at this time, I'm going to open public participation. Now, on all the copies of the agenda and on all the council members' copies, we do have the new rules that we adopted from public participation. I'm not going to read them all to you. You're adults. But I am going to tell you that we must be of good character, we must use good language, and we must remember we're in a public body, that these comments should be of good taste. When you raise your hand in just a second, when I open public participation, I will call on you. You come to the microphone, you give your name and address, and you have up to 3 minutes to try to speak pertaining to, hopefully, things are on the agenda, or at least for sure, city business. We can't solve all the problems of the world. We won't accomplish world peace tonight. but we will listen to you about anything pertaining to the city. So at this time, I open public participation. Does anyone this evening? Yes, sir, in the front row.
Michael Hagberg, 701 Centerville Avenue. On tonight's claim sheets, there's two items that I would like to have further discussion on, both in TIF 3. One is to Belleville Main Street for $10,000, listed as an annual donation, and the other is Art on the Square for $24,000, listed as also an annual contribution. I would question whether annual contributions for art festivals and contributions to a for-profit company, not city controlled, is a valid TIF eligible expense. And I also like to say that I still don't have any answers on my 3 questions for TIF 10 from a month ago. What's the status of those? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kevin Peels, 611 Bristow Lane. I just came in today to make a statement to the city of Belleville about transparency and normalcy and things that go on in the city of Belleville. Well, on April 25th, the city of Belleville had the parade, the Bicentennial Parade, 200-year anniversary. And now, this day is a special marker for me also. A tragic event happened in my life. 21 years ago, on April 25th, my mother was tragically murdered in the city of Belleville. And so I grieve every time throughout this year. And this event was a great grieving process for me because I've overcome this thing, and I suffer from a thing, what is called post-traumatic stress disorder. And overcoming these obstacles, I give it all to the grace of God. And then I stay here in this wonderful city called Belleville. We come through, and I see the Jesus and all these things, and I say, we are truly God's people. Let us be God's people. And if we are God's people, let us speak as we are God's people. And I say, me, a man of God, and I represent God, and I speak today, and I say, this city has oppressed me. There is no transparency here. My father struggled, just me and my father. We came back to Belleville, the normalcy. I had never known anything. I went to school here my whole life, from kindergarten to high school. Union, West Junior High, Belleville West. Normalcy. This is what my father instilled in me and what I give to my children. This is what our soldiers fight for overseas. This is what America is about. Normalcy. Now, in saying this, we have a home. When we moved there, we were the first black family on the street. This year, my father's home was foreclosed on. He had trouble. He caught a DWI. He almost lost his job. And because of this, he lost his home. The city gave my father 2 days, 48 hours to get out. I got him out. I called everybody. I'm asking questions. What's going on with my father's house? How can a man lose his house? I said, Dad, what happened? He said, I talked to the bank. He said, I had $24,000. They told me, we want $27,000 or nothing. You have to pay the full amount. And then he said, no payment agreement. They wouldn't give me a payment agreement. I said, are you serious? And then after the foreclosure, they locked my father's house up. We had so many things. My children's pictures, all my children's baby pictures are gone, thrown in the trash because they locked my father's house up. We had so many things we couldn't even get out of this house. I called the city of Belleville because that was the number on the paper. No return phone call. No return phone call from the banks. And I just asked, what happened? Then I found out they sold my father's house for $15,000 when he's sitting in St. Louis with $30,000 in the bank. And this is what I call oppression. This is how a person gets oppressed in this system of crime-free housing. But I thank the city of Belleville for what they do and what they're doing in the bicentennial. The art on the square was great. The parade was beautiful. I love it. And I'm one of the people who are trying to make Belleville a better place. And that's why I speak on things like this. Because if no one says anything, how will we make it better? Thank you. You folks have a good night. I'm on my way to work because I'm known as one of the jobless people in the city of Belleville. You folks have a good day.
Back in the corner, yes, sir. Mr. Lanner, before you start, I'm going to give you fair warning. Your comments tonight have to be appropriate. I had many comments come to me after last meeting about your language, your choice of words. It must be appropriate.
Well, those
Or I
weren't
will-
my words.
Okay,
Those were somebody else's words.
I'm telling you now, ahead of time, so you don't get confused. We do not want to hear anything of that nature in this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, you
I'm
can
just
proceed.
kind of conveying that's what goes on in the street.
Okay, but you understand our concern.
Okay.
There, from time to time, there's children here, and this is a public meeting, and we want to be of good character.
Okay.
Okay.
Got you. Stuart Lanner, 318 South 29th Street, Belleville. I think most, probably 99% of the people think that Linden would give Belleville $1 for that school, but they don't. I got the fine print here. After you read the fine print of the deal, Belleville has to pay them $150,000 every year, plus Lindenwood's got gobs and gobs of benefits that Belleville taxpayers are paying them. It's really like Belleville is rebuilding the school for them and paying them $150,000 on top of it. It's most people in Belleville have no idea about that. And as far as Bob Delaney goes, he's probably been working for the city for all his life, Democrat job all his life. But all of a sudden, after he was on a radio program that Mr. Big and the rest of the people who call the shots in this county and city didn't like, all of a sudden, they come down on Bob Delaney like a ton of bricks. But he was probably doing that same behavior, that hands-on office style he's got, or they accused him of for 20 years, but that didn't cause a problem until he got off the reservation, you might say. And as far as acting or appearing in a lewd or disgraceful manner, and I've seen the aldermen, I've been coming to these meetings a long time, and I've seen aldermen talk to other aldermen in a rude, disrespectful manner myself. I've never heard a speaker here giving any of the aldermen a hard time. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I come here with this.
Please, ma'am, would you please start with your name and address?
My name is Kathy Osborne. I'm a mother of Christina Koenig that owns property on Colony Drive.
Your address, please?
I'm on 1610 East D Street in Belleville.
Okay.
And I was over to her home yesterday, and there's some construction going on. It's a dead-end street. There's construction going on. And I was told by a city employee that I was not going to be able to park in front of my daughter's home anymore. And if I did park there, I would be towed away. So,
Okay, and what's the street, ma'am?
Colony Drive, it's right off of A Street.
Tim, do you know of any,
A Street?
A Street?
A Street?
Colony off of A. I
Yes.
know where you're at.
It butts up to B Street.
Do we have a sewer project or a street project there?
No, we don't have any sewer.
I don't know of any street project or city project on that street, ma'am. If you, this is the first I've heard of it.
Okay,
If you will come take my card
sure.
and you call me tomorrow, staff will come out and look at this. But at this point, I'm confused as to what project's going on. unless the water company or somebody has a project that they're getting ready to dig up. And I don't know, as far as maybe while the project's going on, but I don't know why, nobody would have the right unless this body here.
They took the fence down, they put a gate in, they're making a garage back there, and they want a driveway. It's a dead-end street. This is my daughter's home here, and then her neighbor, which is with us as well. This is the street. They're trying to, it's a dead end, no through street.
Okay, we'll investigate it, but we'll have to find out. I don't know off the top of my head right here, okay?
Well, she's a city employee, and she told me that she had a permit, and they were gonna erect.
Well, we'll have to look at it then, okay?
And they also made another comment, that comment. Okay. But I told her she should submit the pictures.
She can submit the pictures if you'd like to now, or bring them if we, I'll send somebody, we'll investigate further. You can leave them right here. But like I said, we need a little bit more information. We're not gonna solve this right here tonight.
Sure, thank you.
Okay? Okay. If there are any other public participation, yes, ma'am.
Joy Schreiber, 27 South 10th Street. I loved Art on the Square this year like I do every year. That was fun. Thank you. I'm concerned on two of the agenda items, 12C and D, because they do involve street closures again. We do so much of that. Chili cook-off, Art on the Square, these are great things, but it seems to get out of hand how often we close streets downtown in Belleville. For 12C, it's for the Diva Night. They want to close half a block, I guess, on High Street. And I just think to myself, if I lived in Smithton or Freeburg or Millstadt or something, and I was bringing my children to the theater at Lincoln maybe, and I'm driving up here, I know Belleville, but not that well, and I run into street closures, and it detours me around. Well, by the second or third time that happens to me, I'm going to decide from now on I'm going to O'Fallon. I just don't want to deal with, am I going to run across a closed street? So if it's a big festival, something like that, there's a lot of banners and advance notice, it's one thing. If it's just an annoyance to people who are not familiar with our downtown and they're trying to come here to shop or to enjoy our theaters and such, it kind of becomes a problem. So I'm wondering if for 12C, if they couldn't decide to move, I can realize that they would want to be downtown, but could they go to Avanon Park, I believe is the name of this small park downtown? So something to consider. And then for the one right beneath it, for the teacher's graduation, I believe that location they're requesting is Avanon Park. And I'm thinking that if they have too big of a function that they need to close a street in addition to having the park, then maybe they could consider going to Kimball Plaza at the gazebo, or we also have a beautiful pavilion at Bellevue Park. Neither of those would require that we close a street. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Anybody else this evening under public participation? Yes, ma'am?
It pertains to public participation. I'm sorry, I'll use it. It pertains to public participation. I spoke to Bob Sabo about this. I received an anonymous phone call wanting to know if the aldermen are to keep their yards as the public is expected. In my opinion, I thought maybe we should keep our yards maybe a little better. It's like the judges. They're supposed to set a standard. We're to set a standard. And the reason I'm doing this under public participation, if the person who called on my caller ID, it just said unavailable. So I figured they didn't want me to know who was calling. And I asked Mr. Sabo if he had got a complaint about my yard, and he said no. He had received no complaints, had you? That's correct. And maybe it's someone wanting somebody else's yard of an alderman's is not looking right. So I'm just saying, yes, I received your phone call if you're listening. I don't know what else to say, but maybe our yards should be kept checked on too, just as the public's. Because if I get a phone call like that, something's up somewhere. What, I don't know. So I was just wondering if the city wants to.
Without somebody giving a specific name and address, it's really hard to go out and investigate every elected official's home, and we don't have that
Well, they
kind of.
said alderman, they didn't say.
Okay, but that would be making
16.
16 stops for the staff to
It's
do.
not gotta be done in
Huh?
1 week or 2 weeks. I mean, if they're in that
Well,
area.
I understand, but I'm just saying,
And let the people know that, I just want the people to know that we are going to.
Well, well, we do check, and we check, but we cannot exert a lot of time on anonymous, no name, no specific addresses. We don't have that kind of staff. We just don't. If they can't give us, we don't give out their names, but if they can't give us an address or some more specifics, we can't just go out and start searching, because then maybe they're confused about an alderman versus a department head. Now we would be checking on 30, 35 people.
I just
So,
wanted to let you know
I
that
appreciate that, but I think that.
received the message and
Yeah, I think that we got to, we'll keep it in mind, Bob, and we'll talk about it at staff meeting. But like I said, and I guess to all of us, well, let's do our very best to keep our yards as well as we can. So, we're not exempt from the law, that's for sure. Okay. Hearing that, I'm closing public participation. We will now move on to presentations, recognitions, and appointments. At this time, this week I have two committees I'm dealing with. Next meeting, I'll have the remainder of them, where there's a couple appointments yet. This first one is, I'm asking for a motion that will recommend the following reappointments to the Historic Preservation Commission for a one-year term: Andy Gah, John Hunter, Jack Lachine, Charles Moffett, and Ashley Pollock. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Kinsella. Any discussion?
you know, we're still looking for extra.
I know I met with Andy, who's to be the new chairman today, and we got some ideas, and we hopefully will be back next meeting. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall.
Abstain.
Anthony.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, I'll ask for a motion I recommend the following reappointments and one new appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And these are all by ordinance of 5-year term. Dan Nolman and Don Rockwell for reappointment, and Patrick Sullivan for appointment of a 5-year term. Alderman Schmidt made the motion.
second that.
Second by Alderman Heisler. Discussion. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor, I just wanted to publicly state that I want to go on record thanking Mr. Roger Wigington for his many years of service to the zoning board. Do we, I know we do, some kind of honor with plaques and for people that have been retired. Do we do anything with these volunteers? That are
Unless
on
it's
these-
been an extraordinary amount of years of 25 to 30. At that time, sometimes we've seen a plaque. But I mean, he had a term or two. I sent him a nice letter
Okay.
thanking him for his service, and, explained that we're in the process of slowly rotating some of these boards. So, yeah, he was
I
thanked.
just want to acknowledge.
No,
that
we sent a nice letter, and I would encourage the rest of you to send a letter as well. We have a motion and we have a second to approve this for the zoning board. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Anthony. Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White.
Aye.
Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Excuse me,
Yes,
Dallas, I
Yes, sir.
think you missed me.
You are correct. Randall.
I'll abstain.
Sir. I'm sorry about that.
okay, and I guess I just slipped past me too. At this time, I'd ask for a motion for the approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion, Your Honor,
I'll
to
second it.
approve the regular city council meeting minutes of May 5th, 2014. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Page 12, the second paragraph, I would like it added on there that the mayor stated we are a strong mayor form of government.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's at least what the IML calls it. We have a motion, we have a second. We have that, note that correction, Mr. Kinsella.
On page 9, resolution number 3187 is not the resolution. There's a mistake there. It was copied and pasted wrong. I don't have my copy because I left it in the copy machine. So, but that has to be corrected. Other than that, it's regular.
And that has been corrected. We haven't.
You've already
Yes.
corrected.
Or the number was wrong.
No, this is actually something we're going to be talking about today.
Oh,
I don't have the copy with me right now.
But you're aware of it already?
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Okay, so with those two noted changes, those who made the motion and the second, do you accept that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have those corrections duly noted. All in favor of approving the minutes as stated with those corrections signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Claims, payroll, and disbursements.
Yes, Your Honor, I'll make a motion to pay the claims, payrolls, and disbursements. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Schmidt, do I hear discussion? Mr. Hayden.
Yes, sir, Your Honor, I submitted some questions to the finance director, and I appreciate her getting back to me. I didn't have time to do some follow-up, but she did tell me that page 27, TIF 17, old title escrow, 22,000 was for the purchase of the parking lot at East Washington and Charles. I drove by there, and as of recent, I thought we were going to have those vehicles.
3 of the vehicles have been moved. We will tag them if they don't cooperate, that gentleman, next day or 2, but we're trying to be civil. He removed, 3 or 4 vehicles have already been taken off. A trailer, a pickup truck, one old bus, one old bus, and then the mobile home was moved over onto his remaining property. So we still have 2 to go, I think it is, and they will be dealt with, or I will have the housing officers tag them the next day or 2.
Okay. And the question was raised of the purpose of us buying it, and my basic response was that basically we were land banking
We're
this
trying
property.
to create more parking.
You know, and we're land banking it until we could possibly
Yeah,
add some.
and we're gonna have Tim work up some numbers for me as to what it would cost to even develop some stalls and see how many we can get out of there immediately. The gentleman, as you know, has given us first right of refusal on the second parcel there for the future, so eventually that'll make a parking lot of about 80 by 140, which will certainly park a number of cars right there.
Then I asked about page 35 on the parks, which I thought they might have been umpire checks, but I was informed that these were individuals performing concerts on the square, and the names I didn't recognize, but when did we already have some concerts on the square?
We've been having them for what, 20-some years?
I know we've been having them,
They
but
were even going on when you were on council before.
I know we've been having them, but we,
This early in the year is what he's saying.
No, they start every year this time. It's always June and July. They start on Monday nights, they're here on the square, and then they're in Bellevue Park. It's been 20, how many years?
Longer than that, because I've been here 29, longer than me.
Yeah, you see, hear that? We do the checks in May so that they're handed out the night of the concerts. The night that they work.
that's what I'm getting at, because I didn't think we had done.
No,
them yet this
they're
year.
held until they perform that night, and then they're paid.
Okay.
Alderman White.
I just reminded people to come in a microphone for the recording.
Yeah, I agree. We need to use the microphones, please.
And,
Yeah, I'm sure, Jamie, I'm sorry.
I asked about on page 44 that the tourism charter media Midwest, $2,366. What exactly were we advertising?
Jamie, you want to step up to the microphone?
I don't know, I got that on page 17.
What page did he say?
Okay, that was, the tourism fund elected to buy some, TV advertising through Charter for the Belleville movie and some of the other activities going on downtown.
And this was Kathleen Lindar, who does the tourism, and there's a tourism committee, and they have a budget, as you know, that's paid out of hotel motel tax, and she is, her office, and she's housed out of, works in partnership with the chamber, but actually is technically funded by our tourism dollars. And there's grant money that we get from some of the tourism grants through the state, et cetera.
Okay. And the last one is under the TIF 8. I assume that's for the cathedral project. Have they complete? I thought we weren't going to reimburse them until the project was done.
We paid Impact Strategies, all they had to prove was that they had incurred at least that much expense for the demolition, and the demolition was complete, and so they submitted their bill.
Okay. All right, excellent. I would've got back to you if I could, Jamie, but I appreciate the quick response.
Alderman
Mary, that you
Randall?
did.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'm a little bit lost here because my packet, the claims ends at page 21.
I believe he was referring to vendor number,
Vendor number?
okay, which would make that last one up, I believe, page 18, it's actually vendor 50. Is that
I don't
right?
even have a vendor number.
Yeah, because we don't have 44 pages in there. Yeah, it's the vendor number, I think, Alderman Randall. Does that help? Alderman Holt?
Okay, I would like, I don't understand how the Art on the Square falls under allowable TIF expenses.
We checked that out over the years. It comes under marketing and comes under, it's a match for marketing grant for the billboards, and the billboards go throughout Missouri and throughout the state. There's 40 billboards that they put up, and it's a match for that. And the money for Main Street has been something that we've done ever since Belleville Main Street started, probably 1999 when the program, don't quote me for sure, but I think it was 99, because I think it was about the second year I was on the council when we started the Main Street program. And that has been a commitment that we've had in the budget. It was there when you approved the budget, when you looked at it on other budget sessions we've had. Those two items were both in the budget, correct, Jamie? Any other questions? We have a motion and we have a second to pay the claims, payroll, and disbursements. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Motion carries.
Aye.
I'm sorry?
I said aye because I didn't have the microphone.
Okay, a delayed aye. Reports, we have a housing report of cash receipts fiscal year 2013-14. What's your pleasure?
Will be received and filed.
Motion by Alderman Hayden to receive and file. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman White. Do I hear discussion? All in favor of accepting and receiving and filing the housing report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oral reports, Alderman Heisler.
Yes, Your Honor. On behalf of the Master Sewer Committee, I'd like to make the following motion. A motion to accept a bid from 360 Water for a training program for the wastewater treatment plant for a cost of $109,000. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Hayden. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alderman Rudowitz.
I'd like to make a motion on behalf of the Health and Housing Committee to accept the low bid of $26,000 from S. Schaefer Excavating for the demolition of the old Laughlin Furniture Building at 10,610 West Main.
Motion by Alderman Rudowitz, second by Alderman Schmidt. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony. Hayden.
No.
Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
No.
Ayes have it. Silsby's not here. Alderman Heisler.
Yes, Your Honor. If there is no objection, I'd like to make the following two motions together and vote on together.
Proceed.
Motion, the first motion is to approve the low bid of $176,192,000 from Mettler Development for Huff Park restroom improvements. Second motion to approve the budget amendments encumbrances as recommended by the Finance Director. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Anthony. Do I hear discussion? Roll call. Yes, sir.
Heisler.
Hold it. Roll call. Mr. Randall.
Could I ask Alderman Heisler if he would just repeat the amount?
Could I get that, the second one? Yeah, Ken, I'm sorry. Jamie, do you have that amount? I apologize.
For the second one?
Second
No,
one.
the first.
The first one?
$176,192.
Thank you.
And you, Kent, would you want the second one too?
No, I'm good.
Okay, sorry, Kent.
Okay, we got that clarified. We have the motion and a second. It's clarification made. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Halt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
No.
Motion's carry. Alderman White.
Yes, Your Honor, on behalf of the Traffic Committee, I'd like to make a motion to create a three-way stop at the intersection of West A Street and North Second Street.
Motion by Alderman White, second by Alderman Hayden. Do I hear any discussion? Roll call. And have the proper ordinance drawn.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Halt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Hayden. Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alderman Seibert.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to make a recommendation from the Streets and Grades, the Belleville Historical Society Belleville Walk of Fame to mount a bronze plaque, 13 by 16 on a precast concrete pad, 19-inch by 22-inch by 3-inch, supplied by the Historical Society and installed by the Street Department. The Historical Society will recommend the first 5 names that will be submitted to council for approval for the first 25 monuments. So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Hayden. Mr. Betts, are the 5 names for the first 5 are ready to go?
Been submitted.
Okay, let's include those in this motion so that the council has a chance to improve the first 5 names. I thought that was gonna be, I know, but I wanna make sure they're in the,
It's in
in
our
the,
street.
in the motion.
Do you need the names?
Would you give the names, please?
You gotta test me here. Bob Goby, Buddy Ebsen, George Blair, Lyman Trumbull, and Ninian Edwards.
Okay, and we wanna include those in the motion.
And if I could, there's a slight, I think, a typo maybe here. We've already recommended the 5 names, and then for additional names, 2 to 4 every 2 years, we will submit that, our proposal to be approved by City Council.
Very good, and that's to be understood. The council will have approval ability on the 5 names chosen every 2 years. Okay, everybody understand that? So we have a motion, we have a second, and we have the names included for the first 5. And roll call.
Heisler.
I'm sorry? Yes?
We all voted yes on this, and it's a very good idea. I just have a question. After working art on the square, we set tables in where this is gonna be. Will that affect, if people step on these plaques, will that be okay? I mean,
That's actually the whole idea, but our original plan was to actually put them in the sidewalks where you would walk over them. The mayor did not want to cut up the new sidewalks, so our next option.
I wasn't opposed to it, I just want to know who was going to pay for it.
well, the only
So
thing
the
is,
next option was to put them in that grassy area. Tim and I met and agreed on that space.
so they'll be able to be walked on, because they set
They'll
tables
be able to be walked
in
on.
that, in there. Okay,
Absolutely.
because that's really nice right there.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to act on item E here on page 3. Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Halt.
I'm on the board of the Historic Society, so I abstain.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Oh, gosh.
I ask for a motion to consider the approval of an amended development agreement with FCB Bank for the remodeling of the existing facility located at 401 South Illinois Street, with the city offering certain incentives. The only amendment to the agreement is an extension of the project completion date from May 1st, 2014 to May 31st, 2014.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Consilla, second by Alderman White. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Halt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd ask for a motion to approve the recommendation from the Board of Police and Fire Commissioners to hire the following probationary firefighters: Kevin R. Beck and Matthias J. Imgren, correct?
So
I spelled-
So moved, Your
We have a motion by Alderman Anthony, second by Alderman Schmidt. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Chief, you want to introduce these two gentlemen, since I might have butchered the one name? Okay. Oh, sure, you didn't tell me that ahead of time. Gentlemen, congratulations. I believe we're going to swear you in tomorrow morning. We welcome you and congratulations. Very good. At this time, I'd ask for a motion from the Board of Police and Fire Commissioners to promote Jeffrey S. Fabrizio from engineer to fire captain and Daniel S. Kimball from firefighter to engineer.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by
Second, Your
Alderman Schmidt, second by Alderman Heisler. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony. Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White. Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Chief, are they here? Congratulations, gentlemen. Communications.
You got it. A, communication from Art on the Square and the Wine, Dine, and Jazz Committee requesting permission to hold their Wine, Dine, and Jazz Festival on June 27, 2014 from 5 to 10 p.m. and June 28, 2014 from 4 to 10 p.m. and closure of Highway 159 1 block north and south of the fountain and Main Street 1 block east and west of the fountain from 8 a.m. Friday, June 27th and reopen 1 a.m. Sunday morning, June 29th. B, communication from Eckerd Florist requesting an extension of time for the flower cooler located in one of their loading zones on North 2nd Street until Sunday, May 25th, 2014, due to upcoming events and the need for extra cooler space. C, communication from Belleville Main Street and the Facial Rejuvenation Center requesting permission to host the Diva Night after party on Thursday, June 19th, 2014, from 7 to 9 p.m. They are requesting permission to close North High Street from Main Street to the end of their building on 3 North High Street. Setup would begin at 3 p.m. and teardown will be between 9 and 10 p.m. They are requesting the city's assistance with barricades and trash receptacles. D, communication from Mark Onstadt requesting permission to use the city property located at the northwest corner of East Main Street and Church Street, enclosing North Church from East Main to the alley on Friday, May 23rd, 2014, from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. to hold retirement party for 4 Belleville East teachers.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Schmidt. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Heisler. If I may, just clarify a couple things that might answer a few questions. First of all, part of the reason my wife had asked to extend that is because there's a cooler being repaired next week, and it may take a little longer than we had anticipated. Didn't know it was going to happen. In regard to the facial rejuvenation, this is a Belleville Main Street Diva program. This is not the first year we've done this. This is things they have been doing and we've been approving in the past. There's a precedent set, but you can always change that, but it's worked well. They bring about, for this particular one last year, they brought about 200 women downtown to shop and go into the stores and help the local economy, go to the restaurants, go to the stores, and this facial rejuvenation sponsors it that night. The front of the building will still be open for the Lincoln, and they're well aware because they're on Main Street and they're a part of this. Mark Onstadt came to me and asked that this retirement party should generate about 150 people from Belleville East High School, couples, teachers for this, all the various faculty. They had talked about taking it to another city. They then contacted Onstadt, and he said it's a little big for me, but they talked about the space out here. With our approval, we're going to keep about 150 people eating and dining and spending some time, spending a little money downtown. Seemed like a good thing to me, so I put it on the agenda. So that's the explanation. Alderman Randall?
Yes, sir. My question really has to do with the extension of the liquor license.
The liquor would all be sold out of his building, or if some would go to the wine tap. And right now, with the downtown redevelopment, we've allowed in the festivals and with the approval of this council for liquor to be in that quadrant when we have these kind of functions, et cetera. It's been perfectly normal for all the various activities downtown.
I know this seems to be an exception, okay, with respect to that specific location. It's not spread across the entire downtown area.
It's in that very specific location, and that's why I brought it here to this council for your blessing, but it's not uncommon for anything in the past practice. Okay? Anybody else? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second to approve these, is that correct? Yes. Hearing none, I'd ask for all in favor, signify by aye, signify by aye by approving these communication requests. Aye. Oppose? Motion's carried. Petitions, we have none. Resolutions, I'd ask for a motion to read by title only, Resolution 3189 and 3190.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman
Second, Your Honor.
Schmidt, second by Alderman Heisler, to read these two resolutions by title only. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
A resolution number 3189, a resolution resolving that the City of Belleville requests permission from IDOT to close Route 159 at the Public Square from 9:30 a.m. until 12 noon on September 1st, 2014. B, resolution number 3190, a resolution amending the annual budget of the City of Belleville, Illinois for the fiscal year beginning on the first day of May 2014 and ending on the 30th day of April 2015.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by
Second,
Alderman
Your Honor.
Consilla, second by Alderman Heisler, to approve these two resolutions as just read. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Motion's carried. I'd ask for a motion to read by title only, ordinance 7777.
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Consilla, second by Alderman Schmidt. Discussion. All in favor of reading ordinance 7777 by title only signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
A, ordinance number 7777, an ordinance vacating an alley at High Ridge between Lot 29 and Lot 30.
Move this be approved.
Motion by Alderman Consilla, second by Alderman Schmidt to approve that ordinance as just read. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Unfinished business? Yes, ma'am.
What's the deal with the sidewalks on East Washington?
Mr. Harner is in contact with the owner, and they're trying to resolve it.
Okay, when do you see that wrapping up?
As soon as possible. That's the best I can give you.
Okay.
He has spoke to him.
Okay, my other question, you may be able to answer too. Are you going to prepare an RFQ to get the ordinances recodified?
Yeah, a draft has been, has been prepared, excuse me, and I'm working with the administration to finalize it. I expect it to go out this month.
Great, okay, and the TIF-10 report?
I did receive Friday some information that I requested from the developer. I've scanned it. I don't have a written report yet, but I can tell you preliminarily that it appears, based on that information and the information that I've obtained from the staff, is that the annual payments historically have been made in advance, meaning there wouldn't be any additional interest incurred. For instance, if there's two payments, they've all been made as part of that first payment, is what it appears. But either way, based on the scheduled life of the project, it doesn't appear that the city's contribution via TIF is going to retire that debt in the scheduled life anyway. So the city's payment's going to be the same, regardless of when it was paid during the calendar year, and that's fixed at the 70%. And as far as a missing exhibit, we're not aware of any missing exhibit. And finally, the staff did inform me that all the payments that have been made are confirmed on an annual basis by the city's auditor. But when I get a chance to review this information, I intended to provide a written response for everybody, just so you have it for your records, because I know that Alderman Hayden had sent me an email to that extent. But I wanted to tell you that that's the information I have as of Friday.
Alderman Holt.
Okay, Chuck, I know is not here, but he was gonna check to see if his new machine could possibly spread calcium chloride if the need arose. Do you know
Mike, have they
if
found
he
that out
the
yet?
information?
Yeah, I have that there. Let's see. We got the response back. It'll be approximately $4,809 for that to be added on to the to the quote.
And that vehicle has not been ordered yet.
No.
We would need to take that, I would suggest, if this is okay, that we take that to the Finance Committee this month, if this council is interested in putting that on the agenda, and just to streamline it, take it to Finance and then come back for a final approval. That's so, is that sit?
I would concur.
So Jamie
Okay.
and Mike would make sure that gets to the Finance meeting. Okay, very
I
good.
also want to say thank you to Jason for providing more information about the sculpture. That was very helpful.
Well, good idea, Jason.
Quick question. The Police and Fire Committee is tomorrow at 6.
Good question. Now,
rescheduled.
6 PM, Police and Fire Committee, and I have a question right now. Do we have a quorum? Alderman Stillsby is still gone, and Alderman Davidson is, somebody else told me tonight. Who else is? Joe's question.
Mayor, I gotta work.
Davidson's not on the committee. Davidson's not on the committee. So we got 1, 2, 3. Is everybody, raise your hand if you're on Police and Fire. And if you're raising your hand, Joe's not gonna be here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If 6 of you are there, we got a quorum. So the meeting's on 6 o'clock in the mayor's.
I'm not gonna be there.
Okay, wait a minute. So wait a minute. Raise your hand if you're gonna be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 still a quorum. 6 o'clock in the mayor's conference room. This rescheduled police and fire meeting is gonna proceed, okay?
There's nothing on the agenda that wasn't on it last.
No, there's nothing new been added to the agenda. Nothing they showed me, but Assistant Chief Sparger and Chief Clay, they will be represented and will be ready to go, okay? Yes, ma'am.
In the paper today, I was just gonna ask, I know we approved of helping move the yoga place when the building was gonna be tore down and that. As of they closed today, do we have a contract with them, or was it we were just helping them move since?
We
the
just
building-
connected them with that person, didn't we, Eric? We didn't help them with anything there. We have no agreement. All we
okay.
did was connect them with the new owner of that building and tried to work with them. At the time, we gave them an extra 30 days to stay in that building
Well, that's
until
what
they
I'm
could make the
saying. We
move. That's the only way in which we helped.
But
That
there's
was-
no contract with them?
No.
Because they went out of business?
No, we had no contract, no obligation to them. Okay, moving on to miscellaneous and new business. Motor fuel claims in the amount of $1,880.10. That's the lowest one I've ever seen.
Move the claims be paid, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion about motor fuel? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Hayden. Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session
So moved.
for the purpose of discussing, well, it's stated as personnel, litigation, and property acquisition. Also, please note, it should have said, we had on there before, sale of property, discuss the sale of property. It was, I think it was a typo, but should be also. the
It's
sale
on
of
there
property.
under C. Yeah.
It's on there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, motion by Alderman Schmidt. Do I have a second? For the going into executive session, second by Alderman White. Any discussion on those topics as issued? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, and then we're going to be going. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
Hold it. They're not all back in the door. I got to be fair. I got to tell them that we're adjourning. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your patience, but we're going to entertain a motion to adjourn tonight. Alderman Schmidt, who do I hear a second? Alderman Rudowitz, any discussion? All in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.